So for the first time in one full year, almost one full year, I'm Sean Palmer, and that's Seth Cambridge. You see, we can do this when we're in the same room. This works a whole lot better. And we're actually under the right name over there. Sean Palmer over here.
Do you really need to use your pen to stick up where our names are?
It's right there.
Thanks you for clarifying.
Yeah, no problem. So I know you guys have all missed us being in the same room. If you want to follow us, Seth Kamens is at S Kamens. You can follow us on the bottom. Follow Sean and Seth at Twitter, at the Twitter.
The Twitter.
It's always
Ohio State University.
Look, they trademarked it. Why can't I?
Fair enough.
Okay. Well, we're going to get to talk about.
Call Elon and talk about it with him. The Twitter.
I don't know. He may be getting out of the Twitter. He's trying. But we have a good amount to talk about today. Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
With Kevin Durant. Where may Kevin go? Kevin freaking Durant. And whether my man crush, Jaylen Brown, will be included in that deal. And I think, well, let's start there. You'd love him to be in that deal.
Yeah, I don't think the Nets are going to get a better player. And since they're not playing the tank because they've given every draft pick for the rest of the decade to Houston,
right?
You got to get some talent in addition to just the draft picks,
right?
Because any pick you're getting, if you're getting them from the Celtics, let's be honest here, you're not getting a top 15 pick. This is a team that's going to be the favorite to go to the NBA Finals.
Correct.
If you have Durant and Tatum.
So the question is, if you're going to Boston for this deal, you're not looking for picks. You're looking for players, right?
Yeah.
And to me, the best deal that they can make is forego Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart should not be.
We talked about that.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I know Sean Marks has a man crush on Marcus Smart, so to speak.
So as have I over the years, but I still don't think he belongs on the Nets.
Right. So and as I told you, I would actually love for that trade to happen, Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, because I'd love to see the lineup that the Nets have to put out. Like, if you look at this, so your point guard would be Kyrie. Your shooting guard would be Marcus Smart.
So your point guard doesn't pass. Your shooting guard can't shoot.
Right. Well, let's keep going. You're okay. You got Jaylen Brown at the 3 when you really should be playing the 2. Then you got the 4. Who's playing the 4 here?
Ben Simmons.
Right. Ben Simmons is playing
Who's really your point guard.
Who's really your point guard. And your 5 is Nico Claxton. You should be your backup center.
Nicholas Claxton, dude.
Yeah.
Nico.
Okay. Well, I call him Nico.
He's not Italian.
But that's your lineup.
Yeah.
So that lineup has nobody over 210 pounds.
Probably not. I would be the heaviest guy on that team.
Yeah. And that includes Nicholas Claxton.
There you go.
Or Nick. We'll call him Nick.
Okay.
But I'd love that because it reminds me of my Lakers versus Celtics, where I put everybody that was 6'11" on the court.
Hello, Eldon Campbell.
Yes, it was Eldon Campbell, Michael Thompson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kirk Rambis, and Magic Johnson. That was my starting 5.
Who played the 2 card?
Oh, Eldon.
Of course he did.
Eldon played the 2. Remember, this is Lakers versus Celtics. Everybody was a beanpole.
No, I mean, if you're the Nets, Marcus Smart's is not a help. You go for Grant Williams.
Grant Williams. Yeah, it's the guy I thought. You can make the trade of Grant Williams, Peyton Pritchard, and
you think it's 2.
And Jaylen Brown and 2 number 1s.
And to me, it's probably 2 in a swap or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, the other way that this could happen is if Joe Harris is in that trade. But that means you need a lot more coming back because that's another $17 million. That may be where Marcus Smart comes back, potentially. But even then,
why? That doesn't help.
Right, it doesn't get you back. And they already traded Nesmith, and they can't trade Malcolm Brogdon. Well, they could, but they're not going to.
Have to wait until January 15th.
No, it wasn't a free agent.
Gotcha.
Trades you can keep going.
Yeah, but they're not trading Malcolm Brogdon.
They're not trading Malcolm Brogdon. All 35 games that you get out of Malcolm Brogdon a year.
There you go.
Look, as long as those 35 games are in the playoffs, the Celtics are right now the favorites to win at least the East, to me. They are the favorites. Now, my question to you is, can they win it without Durant? And if they can win it without Durant, why do you go get Durant?
Of course they can. They were 2 games from winning it last year.
Right. So my question is
without Brogdon.
Right.
So your question is, why do you bring in Durant? Because
why do you mess up your team? Because you would, right? You'd be giving up a young 25-year-old in Jaylen Brown. You give up Grant Williams. Now, granted, he's in the last year of his contract, but still a contributor.
A nice role
Certainly
player.
A contributor.
Because you're getting Kevin Durant. Because Kevin Durant is still a top 10 player in the league. Yes.
When he plays.
But he will not have to be the he can have a load. What's the
Load management? Kawhi Liners?
Exactly.
Load management?
Would I do it if I was the Celtics? I don't know.
Right. That's the question, right? Would you do it if you're the Celtics? Because you're giving up now the picks are irrelevant. I fully believe the picks are irrelevant. And you're getting 4 years of Kevin freaking Durant.
Right. So let's say you're getting 2.5 to 3 years.
Right. And you're also getting 2 to 3 years of Kevin Durant at 34 to 37.
Yeah, but that to me is not overly meaningful. His game is not based upon athleticism.
No,
his game is going to hold up.
But his game is based on injuries, whether he gets hurt or not. Like he hasn't played a full season in 5 seasons since he was with Golden State. So really, I mean, I'm looking at it going, do the Celtics make the deal?
Well, now the problem is they've already really pissed off Jaylen Brown.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've put Jaylen Brown in every trade known to man in the last 3 years.
Kawhi Leonard a couple years ago. Yeah. So
Anthony Davis,
you may have to, because at this point,
there's no going back.
Well, he may not want to re-sign with them in 2 years because pretty much he feels disrespected, whether it's right or wrong.
Well, disrespect goes a long way until you give up another $50 million.
Right, so, but he can go to the Nets and have that same $50 million
if that trade happens. Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, Jaylen Brown's only got 2 more years, and Jaylen Brown. Look, anybody that listens to the show or watches the show knows my man crush on Jaylen Brown. I think he's the best player, dollar for dollar,
in the league.
He makes $25 million, averages 24 to 25 points a game. He would have been the MVP in the finals had they won.
Agreed.
But in 2 years, he won't be that guy.
No.
He won't be the underpaid
He'll be
player.
the max player.
He'll be the $50 million player, not the $25 million.
He may not be the 50 because he'd have to be an all-NBA player. We don't know if he's going to hit that threshold.
$44 million player. I mean, we're talking.
Well, then the question is, short of Scotty Barnes, if you're the Nets, what players
right? Exactly. Or do you hold on to him and you hope?
And that may be the best option.
And you revisit December 15th when DeAndre Ayton's able to be traded.
And do the DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, and 2 first-round picks.
And Cam Johnson
and 2 or 3 first-round picks.
I'm not sure that gets you better.
No, and I'll be honest, I'm really hesitant to give Phoenix
anything.
Durant for better or worse, Durant pretty much masterminded this whole team the last couple of years.
You and I are in total disagreement that this is Kevin Durant's fault.
No, this is Kyrie Irving's fault.
Right. Okay.
I think this is Kyrie Irving's fault, but Kevin Durant went along with it.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant
was complicit.
This
is not a crime, by the way.
Yeah.
We're not saying you should go.
Kevin Durant wasn't coming over unless Kyrie did. Kevin Durant wasn't coming over unless
DeAndre
Jordan came, which screwed you with Jared Allen.
Yep.
Kevin Durant was more than willing to have Kenny Atkinson, who had done a phenomenal job for that team, fired.
Yeah.
Durant going into this offseason looked the best of all of them. Came off the best.
Yeah.
The Nets also paid him $37 million to sit for a year.
That's the price of Kevin Durant.
Understood, but there also should be some loyalty that comes with that.
Oh, here we go with loyalty.
Why shouldn't there? You paid him $37 million to rehab.
Okay.
Why shouldn't there be some version of loyalty to that?
Is there loyalty going the other way?
You paid him $37 million.
Hold on. No. I'm saying in the NBA, right? Is there loyalty to Jaylen Brown from the Boston Celtics because he took less than the maximum amount on the contract? No,
but that's not Kevin Durant.
No, I understand. But I'm saying if you're saying that it's going one way, it has to go the other way too. If there's loyalty from the players to the owners or the players to the management, that has to be loyalty to the management to players. There is none of that.
Well, there's none of that in any sport, anything. But look, I don't blame Kevin Durant for taking it.
Yeah.
But you would think that as someone who's played 90 games out of 225, who's won 1 playoff series with them, and again, admittedly, Kyrie has been a distraction more than anything else. And you remember my feelings when they brought in Kyrie in the first place.
Sure.
What were they?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was I'm not sure if that was my exact articulation. That was my articulation on the Harden deal.
Yeah.
Which Nabate still tells me was the right deal to make.
Oh. Look, if you want to say that there is loyalty that goes both ways, I bring up Ben Simmons. because there is no loyalty from that guy. None whatsoever. There's no loyalty from James Harden. None. Except to the Philadelphia 76ers, except to Daryl Morey.
Yeah. But look, I think James Harden I think he was just tired of the drama that came with
But
Kyrie.
he forced the drama.
With Kyrie?
No, not with Kyrie, but he forced every other drama.
Well, he forced the deal. And what I didn't agree with Sean Marks was how much they gave up to get him. Now, again, I don't understand when you have someone who signed under contract, if they want to be traded, so be it. That is absolutely correct. But I am not running to push somebody where they want to be traded to.
Okay. So that's your feeling about Phoenix and Kevin Durant. That's your feeling about Miami and Kevin Durant.
Well, Miami's different because Miami has nothing to offer.
Right. You don't want Tyler Hero in a bag of pucks?
I wouldn't take Tyler Hero in a bag of pucks for Jaylen Brown, for Donovan Mitchell.
Especially since you're going to be paying him more than a bag of bucks real soon.
Exactly. No, I'm not a Tyler Hero guy. So, I mean, no, Miami's irrelevant because unless you're getting Bam Adebayo, which you can unless you include Ben Simmons in the deal or trade him simultaneously.
I love when the man listens to me. I love it.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Couldn't be.
You listen to me on this one. I'm the one that told you that.
I thought I read about it.
No, I told you first.
Okay. So, yeah, because you can't have two rookie max deals in the same. Sean's head. So, what are we looking at practically? Phoenix, Bridges is a nice player. Ayton's a nice player. 2 first-round picks. But I'm not ecstatic about throwing everything.
Send them to Charlotte.
For
the other Bridges.
He's in jail.
I know. No, he's actually out of bail.
Okay, good. I'm glad he could afford
him, Kemba Walker, and Ball.
Why not Gordon Hayward while we're
at Ball?
There you go.
I mean, Ball and Kyrie on the same team would be wonderful.
Oh, I'm sure the Nets management would love that. But
no, there are.
I didn't realize that we had someone who wrote to actually trade him to Bridges.
Oh, there you go. I didn't realize that either.
Good job, Mr. Ziskin.
No, he said that after I did.
Oh, okay.
This is 402.
It's right.
So good job, Ziskin. But anyway, send him for Bridges and the bail money.
Because Joe Tsai needs the bail money.
Joe Tsai got fined $500,000 for putting the New York Liberty on a private plane last year.
You know what that's equivalent to? About $150 in my bank account. There you go. So 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, go win the mega billions.
I just want one. I don't need the 0.5. The 0.5 can go to taxes.
That's why. It's going to. So that's why if you win the mega millions, it becomes the mega billion. Pretty much instead of billion at this point. So you walk away with $500 million. Actually, you'd stay in Florida for a year then. That would be your incentive to stay in Florida. Because as much as you may not like it, you would move to Miami, live in a penthouse, and avoid
state taxes.
Avoid $100 million, $80 million of taxes. Let's talk about a real playoff threat.
The Greek Freak will win TG. Okay. When Zach Ziskin learns how to write English, we'll be happy to.
Or he can join the show.
Or you can join the show.
You're welcome to come on.
Would you like us to Zach, I need your email address, and we'll invite you to the show. So just post your email address, and you'll be on the show with us.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there you go. Your Facebook notwithstanding. But anyway, we'll see where that goes. So, okay, so what else so the NBA, Donovan Mitchell has taken a back seat. Kevin Durant has taken a back seat. And there was a great article in The Athletic today about that and why. And the reason is Rudy Gobert.
Yes. It is you went from, 2 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks, to 5 first-round picks, 87 swaps, 7 players, and the rights to Carlos Correa.
and
the Bank of and the Wall.
He's not a top 10 player. No, that's the thing.
He's not a top 20. He's probably a borderline top 20
But
player.
I'm saying you gave all that
right.
for a not top 20 player, right. And now you're talking top 20 players. So if you're at Sean Marks or you're Danny Ainge, because I don't remember the GM in Utah, but it's
Dennis
Lindsay?
Lindsay could be.
Dennis Lindsay? If you're Dennis Lindsay or you're Sean Marks, you're pretty much saying, wait, Gobert got him 4 first-round picks and a bunch of swaps. I got to beat that.
Right.
And so let's put this out there, guys. you can only deal first-round picks out 7 years.
Yes.
And you can only deal every other one. Right. So that's a max of you guys, the Knicks or the Nets or somebody else. You guys. Look,
you sound
Paul Sorvino.
Paul Sorvino,
rest in peace. So I was
about to say that was a good Goodfellas comment.
But the fact is, you can only deal 4 of your own.
Yep.
And 3 swaps, right? Potentially.
Hence the Harden Nets deal.
That wasn't. They gave up all 4 and 3?
4 and 2, I think.
4 and 2. So the fact is, you can only give up 4, right? And the Timberwolves gave up 5.
Because they had somebody else's.
Right. And they had Walker Kessler, which basically was this year, so it was like 6. So now you have, if you're Dennis Lindsey or you're Sean Marks, and you're saying, wait, I got a much better player than Rudy Gobert. I got to get more.
Can you use the bathroom?
Well, there aren't many teams that have more.
No.
Like that's
because if you're going to give up more, you're giving up your whole team to get them, which means there's no value on the other side.
The only team that has more than 4 right now is the Knicks. The Knicks have 7
that are in the trading world. Oklahoma City has more than 4.
Oh, that's true. Right. That are
ironically Utah now has more than 4.
Yes.
So I'm looking up Utah to see if it's still.
It's got to be Dennis Lindsey.
Okay, continue.
But yes, so you got the only teams that are in these conversations that have more than 4 are the Knicks, and it's not Dennis Lindsey.
No, he was the former executive vice president of basketball operations.
That's
Justin Zanuck.
Oh, that must have happened when the new guy bought the team.
It happened. It looks like last year.
Yeah, new guy bought the team. The rich guy bought the team.
Is there ever a poor guy who buys the team? Other than the one who bought the Islanders?
Fred Wilpon.
Who's the
John Spano.
Yeah, the one who bought the Islanders ended up in jail.
Yeah, the 30 for 30, John Spano.
Good stuff.
John Spano. So if you're the Knicks, are you holding on to your picks? Look, there was another great article on The Athletic. The Athletic has done really
Are we going to get paid by The Athletic for all this publicity?
We should. Maybe we should start writing for them.
Could
or do a podcast.
That would be great. Seth Davis, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah. Seth Davis, right, son?
He runs it.
The Seth Davis?
Yeah.
The college basketball guy?
Yeah.
I know.
There you go.
He's taught me something today. So,
well, he taught me about rookie contracts and talking about ownership.
Seth Davis. I didn't know he ran it. Yeah. Anyway, so
Boo.
So
this is why we don't do it in person that often.
Right.
Because this is our normal banter anyway.
Mike Volcom, who writes the beat for the Knicks, did a draft of the 17 possible assets that the Knicks give away in a Donovan Mitchell, and what would be like the last thing you'd want from first to last, what you would give up. And they said the first thing that they would take back would be the 2029 first round pick, because I can give you next year, no big deal. I don't want to give you 7 years out because I never know what 7 years out is going to be. That makes sense.
No, I think that's silly because you're trying to keep your job. You're not worried about 20. You can't worry about 2029.
Well, but he's not trying to keep his job. He's a writer. He's talking about the fans.
Okay, just talking about the fan base.
He's saying this is what I wouldn't want to give. This is what I wouldn't want to give. Not necessarily what they.
Wait a minute. You want to be relevant, Mitch? Now again, It's funny. We have you on one side of the deal, Gary 8 on the other side of the deal. I'm kind of in between.
Okay.
You're not willing to give a 2029.
No, that's not what I said. What I don't want to give is I told you, I want to give up Obi because I never wanted Obi to begin with.
I know. You were so happy when they took him over Halliburton.
If
I had a video. If I had a video of our conversation in the 5 seconds before, whether it was on phone, text, or I forget.
It was on Google Talk.
Google Talk. Oh,
no Obi, shit. But the fact is, I want to give up Obi. I want to give up Derrick Rose. That makes us, and I want to give up Evan Fournier. Salaries met.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Rose, they're going to buy out Rose, and they're going to buy out Fournier anyway.
Salaries met. They may move Fournier somewhere else, but salaries met. Then I want to give up the 3 picks that are not ours. Washington, Charlotte's, and
Dallas.
Washington, Dallas. There are 4 picks there.
Washington, Dallas, somehow
Milwaukee's 2025 pick, and I think we have Charlotte's pick. So I think it's 4.
Okay, that's part of the deal that was made this year.
So I think it's 4 number 1 picks. I'll give them all up.
Okay.
Because they all have some form of restriction around them.
Right.
Most of them are top 5 to top 8. I'll give all those. I'll give up our 2023 pick next year.
So you give up 5 number ones.
Sure, as long as 4 of them are not mine.
Okay.
That's what I do. That's it. I want to
So
give up those 4.
You would give up 5 number ones in OB for Mitchell.
For Mitchell. As long as it's those number ones. I'm not giving up my number ones. I don't want to give up my unrestricted number ones.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Because you've never been a big fan of getting Mitchell.
I'm not a huge fan, but the thing is, all of those have restrictions on them. And when you look at it, when I look at it, is I'm looking at 3 years down the road. So 3 years down the road, the salary cap at the end of 2024, the salary cap will spike because of the new NBA.
Is that when the media contract comes out?
That's where we're going to have another Kevin Durant and Bismarck Biyombo and Timothy Mozgov.
Yeah, that was an article from the
Athletic. We're going to have all those, right?
Can we just have athletic writers on?
I would love to have athletic. Do you know any?
I know who they are. I don't know any personally.
So maybe we'll have one. Maybe so that's
Randy, get us a writer. Get us Richard Deutsch.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
That would be great.
I'd love having him.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's when we would see the spike. RJ Barrett will probably be a $25 to $30 million player by then.
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Mitchell will be a $30 million player, which is what
he already is right now.
Right, but okay. And the
Do you think they max out Barrett?
No, they can't.
I don't think he's worth it.
He's not worth it.
But the question is, so Gary thinks again.
No, they can't.
I will be back.
They can't max out Barrett. But Seth will come back with this. But they certainly can't max. And this is how you know we're in the same room because he's gone. Woo! It's just me. But no, they won't max out Barrett. But in 2024, 2025, what they will have is cap room. So they'll have their number 1 star in Donovan Mitchell. They'll have their number 2 star in RJ Barrett, hopefully. And they'll be able to get a number 3 without doing this crap, without spending any more picks. And this is the way it'll work. And that's the hope, right? That's what the Knicks have to bank on, because this is not, even with Jaylen Brunson, even with Obi Toppin, who I can't stand, even with Emmanuel Quigley or any of those guys, if you add Donovan Mitchell, this is not a championship team. Seth will agree with me. It's absolutely not a championship team. I had to show my nuts. Not a championship team. But if you're able to acquire one more star, so if you're able to put Donovan Mitchell, and I hate the defense, by the way, Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brunson in the backcourt makes me sick because I don't know where the defense is coming from. But, I mean, I hope Seth does because I have no clue. And then defensively on the front court, Julius Randle's a sieve. RJ Barrett isn't a great defender, and they have Mitchell Robinson in the middle, which hopefully will do what Rudy Gobert does, right? That's the hope, is that they will be able to do that. But I think, Seth's back. Seth's not back. But I think in 2024, that's when you get the star. That's when you get the next star. So you're trading your picks. And again, I said before, you're not trading your picks. You're trading other people's picks, and you're hoping that they just don't pan out. So that's Donovan Mitchell. Kevin Durant, we went through. There really is no other trade on the horizon, at least from what we understand. But the NBA is fickle like that, right? When we get to the training camps, which are coming up soon, there will be other trades. There will need to be other trades. There are other free agency pickups that are still outstanding, and we'll get to those in a little bit. Before Seth gets back, I'm going to give you a little rundown of where we are. So next week, I will be in New York, so we'll be in different spots, but we'll have a show on the 3rd. We're going to have our fantasy football preview on the 31st. Sorry. I'm looking at the schedule here. September. Yeah. So on the 7th is our NFL preview. On the 31st is our fantasy preview. On the 24th will be our college preview. So we have lots of previews coming up. I know absolutely jack and squat about the NCAA football. And it'll show even more so when we get to that point. But that being said, we did have the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame this past week. And congratulations to those that got in. I'm going to read them off in a second. They include Big Papi, Jim Cott, Gil Hodges. 2022. Here we go. So Gil Hodges, Tony Oliva. Where are they? It was a list. I had the list. There we go. So Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, Jim Cott, Minnie Minoso, Tony Oliva, Buck O'Neill, and David Ortiz. Estimated crowd of 35,000 people. And Seth and I were talking about this over lunch. It's not so much that there were 35,000 people there. It's more the fact that there were allowed to be 35,000 people there. COVID has not ended. There are still people that are getting sick. You should still obviously take precautions as you deem necessary. Masks, no masks, that's completely up to you. But isn't it nice that we're now entering a time in our annual year in which fantasy football is going to start, the Baseball Hall of Fame, we're going to have the Pro Football Hall of Fame game in a couple of weeks, and people are getting back together to celebrate those things. So it is really, really nice that we are able to gather and do that. So Baseball Hall of Fame, I just mentioned who was in it. Look, long overdue for Buck O'Neill. Buck O'Neill should have been in 2006 when he was alive, and it's really unfortunate that his family had to wait and he had to pass. I'm really interested in Seth's opinion on David Ortiz. Look, David Ortiz is a great baseball player. He was a great hitter. Understanding that the DH is the DH, and it's a place in our baseball fandom at this point with Edgar Martinez and others that are being entered into the Hall of Fame as a DH. And you can make the case that a DH and a pitcher are very similar. They only play half the field. But I have a slight problem with David Ortiz because of steroids. And I get it. The report, I believe it was in 2003, was supposed to be anonymous. It slipped through the cracks. David Ortiz's name was used. But it was still used. It was still there. Rob Manfred tried to gloss over it saying, no, I don't count that. Well, if you don't count that, what do you count? Why do we count Barry Bonds? Barry Bonds was never proven to use steroids. Roger Clemens was never proven to use steroids. The Mitchell report was the Mitchell report. I get it. But my concern, and I don't believe Bonds or Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame. I've said this hundreds of times. But if you're going to keep them out, just because Big Papi was a personality and well-liked, does that mean that he should be in? And I just have a hard time. Now let's go into the seniors, guys. And we talked about Buck O'Neill. Bud Fowler was an old player. I'm not going to talk about him. I can talk about Hodges, Cott, Minoso, Oliva. I love old-time baseball. I think the stats in old-time baseball are fantastic. I follow them all the time. Gil Hodges was a great fielder. Definitely a quality bat, and those Brooklyn Dodgers teams took the Mets to the World Series. Won the 1969 World Series with the Mets before he shortly passed away. His number 14 is retired at Citi Field. You can't convince me that there were too many players in Major League Baseball that were more influential on New York City baseball than Gil Hodges. For many different reasons, but you can't convince me that there were too many that were more influential than Gil Hodges. But that doesn't make him a Hall of Famer. I get that his number was retired. I get that he was a good player, maybe in the Hall of Very Good. But I just don't see Gil Hodges, unfortunately, as a Hall of Famer. And I could say that about most of these guys that were later elected. And Jim Cott is another one that, look, Jim Cott started 625 games. He had 283 wins, 17 short of that magical 300. An ERA of 3.45. We argued over Jack Morris. I can't remember for how long, but we did. And Jack Morris, I believe, had, I'm going to look this up. Hold on one second. Got right here. We argued Jack Morris had 3.90 with 254 wins. Jim Cott had 283 wins with a 3.45. Morris had a 57% winning percentage, and Jim Cott had a 54% winning percentage. I am unsure as to how Jim Cott made the Hall of Fame, other than as a pure aggregate, because he won a bunch of Gold Gloves. He was an All-Star three times. He never won a Cy Young, never was the best pitcher in the league. Of things that were, he led the league in starts a couple of times, complete games once.
Who are we talking
We're talking about Jim Cott.
Oh.
I'm struggling, Seth.
The Harold Baines of the
Jim Cott once gave up 321 hits in a season. He also pitched 303 innings.
Okay, well,
right, but my point is Jim Cott, looking at these guys, looking at Gil Hodges, Jim Cott, Minnie Minoso, Tony Oliva, I struggle with how any of them are Hall of Famers. I said Gil Hodges is one of the most influential people in New York City Major League Baseball history, between the Dodgers and the Mets. That doesn't make him a Hall of Fame.
Fair.
Jim Cott, complete aggregator. Yep. Minnie Minoso, the only one of those that I give a shred to.
Right, because he played in 5 decades. He's the first
Cuban player. Yeah, and 2,600 hits. I get that. Tony Oliva?
Really nice player.
Tony Oliva had a Hall of Fame first 5 years.
I said really nice. So did Don Mattingly.
Right. So if you're going to put Tony Oliva in the Hall of Fame, you're putting him in under the Terrell Davis, right?
But that's not the most unreasonable position.
But okay, so Tony Oliva, Tony Oliva finished with a 304 average, was an all-star 8 years, won a couple of batting titles, batted 323, 321, and 337, 3 batting titles in 7 years. Are you electing Joe Mauer into the Hall of Fame? I mean, that's the equivalent, I'd say. And Joe Mauer played catcher, so I'm interested to see whether that actually happens. His WAR was 43. So in the comparison of WARs, which I love doing, these comparisons, his greatest comparison was Hunter Pence or Carl Furlow or Gus Bell or Pedro Guerrero. All really nice players. George Bell, Dante Bichette. All really nice players. None are Hall of Famers. None. So just a really, really hard time dealing with Major League Baseball and their Hall of Fame. Starting with Ortiz and finishing up with the 4 other guys. Just didn't make any sense to me. But next year, I think we have more people coming up, 2023, MLB Hall of Fame. So potential Hall of Fames for 2023. Well, we're going to have more of the same, right? We're going to have Scott Rowland, who I believe should be in the Hall of Fame, 6th year on the ballot. Todd Helton, who has the Coors effect. Billy Wagner, who may be the most dominant reliever outside of Mariano Rivera I've ever seen. He's in his 8th year. And Andrew Jones, whose son, you want to feel old, his son was picked in the draft this year, along with Matt Holliday, who went first. Gary Sheffield, Alex Rodriguez. The first-time people are Carlos Beltran, John Lackey, Jared Weaver, Jacoby Ellsbury, Matt Cain, Johnny Peralta, and a bunch of other people, including R.A. Dickey. The only one that has a shot of the first ballots are Carlos Beltran. Oh, Mark Burley, too, who once pitched a perfect. No, Mark Burley's not first time. He's third time. But Beltran is your best bet. And the question is whether Beltran, who has a WAR of 44.4, which is right up with Tony Oliva. We were going through next year's Hall of Fame is Carlos Beltran as the first one. And he'll be much as I don't like the fact that David Ortiz was in the Hall of Fame this year.
Because they're probably pretty comparable.
Yeah.
Statistic.
Well, and I'm not even talking statistically. I'm like, with the whole cheating scandal.
Yeah. It's a really uncomfortable play.
They're all uncomfortable right now. I mean, these are the remaining guys.
Ortiz wasn't uncomfortable.
Ortiz was uncomfortable to me.
Did you have any doubt he was going to get in?
No, but whether he should get in and got in are different.
Okay.
So next year,
you love Roland.
I love Roland.
Roland is your replacement for Tim Raines as your man crush.
He might be. Yeah, I mean, look, next year is going to be Roland or nobody.
Helton's never going to make it.
Helton's not going to make it. Wagner's not going to make it. He's in his 8th year already.
Andrew Jones isn't going to make it.
Sheffield won't make it, although Sheffield was the best batter I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best player on here, the best hitter on
here. Well,
here.
A-Rod's the best player.
Yeah, A-Rod's a different discussion point.
Is he, though? Is he different than Sheffield? No, they're the same discussion. There's steroids or no steroids. Same discussion. Or do you put A-Rod with Manny?
Yeah, I put A-Rod more with Manny.
Okay,
was Sheffield ever? Did they ever?
No, that was the Balco. That was the same thing as Mr. Bonds.
That's what I thought. No, A-Rod is a little different. Jeff Kent, I think you're a Jeff Kent guy.
He's in his 10th year next year.
He's not going to. Do you think he should make it?
No.
You know my feelings on Hall of Fame, so.
Yeah, in your Hall of Fame, nobody makes it next year.
Probably not. Yeah.
Well, Beltran's not in it
No.
for your number. I mean, it's 50. His WAR is 44.4.
No, I mean all these people's WARs are pretty.
Oh, I'm sorry. His WAR is 70. Sorry, his WAR is 70.
I mean,
which is, by the way, the exact same as Scott Rowland.
Not exactly.
Just wanted to throw that out there. Just the same. And Manny's, by the way, is less than Rowland.
Which I find utterly confusing.
Well, because Rowland gets a lot of it based on his defense.
Gotcha. And Manny would certainly.
Manny doesn't even understand what defense was.
No.
Manny was just being Manny.
Manny was just being Manny.
Just being Manny. So anyway, we went through the Hall of Fame, went through a little bit of the NBA and what our schedule is like for the next couple of weeks.
What is our schedule like for the next couple of weeks?
Well,
we have fantasy baseball,
football. But that's towards the end of the.
Okay, so are we taking a week? Are we taking a week?
We can not next week. We'll take the week after off,
or we'll see if someone else wants to host.
Sure, we'll do that. But the fact is, do we want to cut this short? Do we want to keep going?
We can keep going.
All right, so we keep going. So we got the NFL coming up. Deshaun Watson still not decided.
Yeah, it feels like it doesn't feel like it's going to be a year of suspension, though.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, yes, you do. Same way I do.
It's garbage.
Yeah, it's crap. If you said one or two people, but not when you say 30.
No, I think it's garbage because I can't. Just because you're an NFL player, you're getting away with literally anything.
Yeah. Have you seen?
I know.
I mean, come on. What world do you live in?
One that I don't exactly enjoy half the time.
No, you live in a backwards ass state where military spouses who don't have college degrees are allowed to teach.
I'm moving back to home. Well, not home.
Not really home.
Not home, but I'm moving back to Georgia. Not to Cali.
Going back to
Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I want to see you.
And my wife just walked over and just gave us the weirdest look of
despair.
I'm sorry, do you not know the Going Back to Cali song?
Really? Back to Cali. Going back to Cali.
So he'd be going back to Long Island.
Nobody wants to go to
Long Island. It's by LL Cool J, actually. So anyway, we're going to do that. And yeah, so we got the NFL coming up. You excited about your Giants at all?
No. We're going nowhere.
You're going nowhere except to the first round of.
Except for a quarter. Except we're going to probably end up with a quarterback next year. Is that Nabate playing?
No, he wishes. Is that LL Cool J? So early pick. Is the Super Bowl going back to Cali?
No.
So we're here on July 29th. Where's your Super Bowl going?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So where's it going?
As of now, Buffalo.
Buffalo.
As of now.
Wow.
Is it really that big?
What
of
will
a-
they really do? Like, they'll burn the whole city.
They're still angry about the Brett Hull goal
I know.
from 1999. No. Look, the Rams were not the best team in the NFL. They were not the best team in the NFC last year.
No.
They got hot at the right time and
Sure.
played and had some fortuitous. I mean, look, they were had some fortuitous luck, but there was no team they beat convincingly. I think I forget who they played in the first round. Did they play a first round game?
It wasn't Detroit.
Well, I know it wasn't Detroit. That wasn't Jared Goff walking through that door.
No.
No, they beat Tampa in that great playoff game.
Yep.
Then they beat the Niners in a really weird playoff game in the NFC Championship.
It's when Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt.
Yeah. That weird, and then they beat Cincy in a toss-up game. No, I don't think they're winning. I don't think they're winning at all.
Wait, the one thing we haven't talked about is what do you think of the homework assignment? Kyler Murray. So let's understand what happened. So first, they signed Kyler Murray to this huge contract. And they put the Cardinals, and they put this thing in there that says 4 hours every week, you must do game film. Which, to tell you the truth, I would think that would be part of the assignment. Like,
I would assume that would be implied.
right? Like,
But
you know the Facebook thing, right? He got the assignment. Like, I would think that is the assignment of an NFL quarterback. So after a week of back and forth of who really did this screw over? Did it screw over? Did the Cardinals make more of an issue than they should have? Did Murray put himself in?
who publicized this?
Doesn't
Or it
matter.
doesn't matter. It's a public.
Contract gets released.
Yeah.
The Cardinals had to know that this was going to come to bear.
No, I don't think they did.
Oh,
I don't think they thought this was. Why would they do this to embarrass him?
Yes.
You sign him to a $250 million deal, and then you're embarrassing him.
Yes. I think they wanted to embarrass him into being
More of a actual
student of the
student
game.
of the game.
Yes.
You saw his response, right?
Yeah.
It was great. If you think I can win, you think I can do what I do
Without
studying, thank you. I appreciate that you think I have that much skill.
That's right. But he does have that much skill.
He is incredibly skilled.
And the thing is, too, last night they decided to take it out.
Yes.
Now, there is a rumor as to why that is. So, and this is from profootballtalk.com.
We were just crediting everybody today.
Mike Florio is really good at what he does.
Yes.
I really like Mike Florio. So he wrote an article today where it said Murray, due to this clause, was looking to fire his agent.
Oh.
Now, if you fire an agent, the agent doesn't make money based on what has already been signed. He only makes money on the next contract. So basically, the new agent will be looking to rip up the new contract as soon as possible so they can make more money. So the Cardinals took out that clause. They rescinded the clause so he wouldn't fire his agent, so they wouldn't have a situation on their hands.
In 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years. Even 2 years.
It's a 5-year deal.
Who cares?
Doesn't mean Kyrie.
Well, that's part of it too.
Doesn't mean he's not going to fire him in a month anyway.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But look, they got the publicity that they wanted. For better or for
all
worse.
negative.
Well,
It's the Trump PR. And
but
all
is
news
it
good news.
but is
All
it
the best.
negative though? Now if Kyler Murray doesn't play well, they can ask, did you study the playbook?
Wouldn't they ask that anyway?
I guess. I don't know. All right. We're going to cut this short because I got to go. So
Where are you going?
What?
Where are you
I'm going to get some food. I'm hungry.
Didn't we just order Google on wings?
Yes, we did. Okay. We'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great one, everybody.